Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today we are going to talk about the books that I read in November, and because I only read 2 books in November, I am also going to talk about a few books that I wasn't able to finish, and a few books that I would like to read in December. That way I'm not just telling you about 2 books. First, let's talk about the 2 books that I did read. The first one was The Impossible Fortune. This is the 5th book in the Thursday Murder Club series. I did not even know this book was coming out this year, and I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4-star. I do think that this book relies a lot on you already really loving the characters, which I do. I do really love the series as a whole, and I think the mystery is not as strong in this one. I do think that it has really good elements to it and is still a very enjoyable book. I will say I did have to spend some time trying to remember who everybody was as far as like the more peripheral characters that were involved, but overall I did really enjoy it. I absolutely love these characters. I love this series. I think it's a phenomenal series, so I would absolutely recommend it. And then the other book that I read, oh, that's by Richard Osman, by the way. I don't think I said that. The other book that I read is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal, El-Mohtar, and Max Gladstone. This book I found very, very fascinating. I really enjoyed it. So basically, it's following these 2, like, agents of this time war. They both work for these, I don't even know how to describe it, like, groups, I guess, and they go throughout time and they change various things to try and impact the future. And so sometimes it is actual, like, battle war scenes, and then sometimes it's more just like this person needs to bump into this person for something to happen, and they end up leaving these letters for each other across time and falling in love. And I thought that it was really, really interesting. I really enjoyed the way that it was written, and I didn't necessarily super connect with the romance. I didn't feel like it was like this mind-blowing romance, which I feel like a lot of people say that it is, but I did like it, and I really enjoyed the kind of like sci-fi aspect to it. One of the characters, it's more like technology, and you know, I'm just picturing a lot of like technology, computers, metal, that kind of vibe, and then the other one is very nature focused, and so they talk about those differences. So yeah, I really liked the kind of different descriptions and them describing these kind of societies to each other and things. And I do think that this is a case where having 2 authors was really good, because you could actually tell the difference between the 2 characters. I think that, what was that book that I read earlier this year? City of All Seasons. There's 2 authors for that book, and the characters read exactly the same. I could not tell who was which. In fact, I had to check multiple times while reading that book. I'm like, who are we even reading from right now? Because it was like the same exact perspective, and this book was not that at all. You could tell they each had a distinct voice and a distinct writing style, and I thought that was a really fun, very interesting and intriguing book, and I'm glad I read it. As far as some books that I started and wasn't able to finish, I did start Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Everyone has been screaming at me to read Brandon Sanderson. I've read Trust of the Emerald Sea, and what's that one called? A Frugal Wizard's Guide to Surviving Medieval England. So neither of his like big series books. And I did like both of them fairly well. Okay, so I got about halfway through this book, and then my hold just expired. I wanted to be able to finish it, but truthfully, most of it I read because I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning while I was on a trip to see my family for Thanksgiving, and I couldn't sleep, so I just like stayed awake and read. And then I wanted to read more when we got home, but our flight was delayed by 4 hours. And so I was in an airport for 4 hours with 2 toddlers, and I had a migraine. I did read some more on the plane, but I was also holding my 2-year-old, and he was asleep on me, and so it was like not the most comfortable. And so I was trying to like keep him comfortable, but my arm was completely dead because he's like 30 pounds, and read at the same time. So yeah, I only got about halfway through this book. But overall, I would say I am enjoying it so far. It reads very YA to me. I'm not sure if it is YA or not though. It might be YA. If it is YA, totally fine for it to read YA. just Google it. How many times can I say YA like that? Huh. Okay. Mistborn is not typically marketed as YA, though it's often categorized as such by bookstores and has elements that make it more accessible to young adults. It was originally released as an adult fantasy series. While the first book may feel more like YA, later books in the series have more adult themes and complexity. So maybe that's kind of what I'm feeling. But yeah, I know a lot of people love it. So I will, once my hold comes back up, I will try and finish reading it. Hopefully my hold doesn't take too long. Right now it says about 4 weeks. So yes, I do think the magic system in it is pretty interesting and I'm enjoying learning about it. But I will say too, is that there's just a bunch in there that I'm like, okay, I don't really care about that. Like, I don't know. I just think that it's a little overwritten, which is how I felt. I started reading The Way of Kings a while ago, and I didn't like it that much because it felt way too overwritten. And I think that it's because it's going to be establishing this big world, and I think that maybe because in the back of my mind, I know like all of the books are connected, and it's this huge giant series, and you know, this series is connected to this series, and there's this giant universe of Brandon Sanderson, that maybe that's getting to me a little bit too much, to where I'm like, do I need to know this? Am I supposed to be paying attention to this? And so I think that kind of outside perception is affecting me a little bit, but I'm trying to not let it, because I don't want to not allow myself to enjoy it or just like read it like I would any other book, just because I have kind of these like outside perspectives that are like coming into my brain while I'm reading it. Anyway, so that's that. I started reading that, and then the other book that I started reading that I'm hoping I will finish here in a couple days is The Hidden Life of Trees by, who's it by? Peter Wohlleben. Oh, Wohlleben. This is a nonfiction about the ways that trees communicate with each other. I am absolutely loving it. I just put it down so that I could read Mistborn. So that's kind of the only reason. So I just need to, because that hold was ending sooner. So I just need to pick that back up, and yeah. As far as, I'll tell you 2 books that I want to read in December. I'm going to give you some more content here. I would like to read Empire of Shadows by Jacquelyn Benson. I have that checked out currently. People say that this is for fans of The Mummy and, what's that movie called? The Heart and the Stone? The Shadow, the Stone, the Heart of... Romancing the Stone. I know there was something about stones and hearts. Romance. Heart romance. So basically, it's set in the Victorian era. This young lady who is an architect, and it's about pre-Columbian history, which I find very interesting. I've heard it's really, really fun. I love The Mummy, and so I'm hoping that I'll love that one. And then the other book that I'm hoping to get to is called The Door on the Sea by Caskey Russell. Apparently it is like really brings in that like oral storytelling tradition, and that's something that sounds really interesting to me. I really liked The Spirit Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez, which is also like a lot about oral storytelling and oral tradition, and I would love to know more about native stories. It says, when Elan trapped a salmon-stealing raven in his cupboard, he never expected it would hold the key to saving his people from the shape-shifting Kush invaders plaguing their shores. In exchange for its freedom, the raven offers a secret that can save Elan's home. The Kush have lost one of their most powerful weapons, and only the raven knows where it is. And it says, but Elan is a storyteller, not a warrior. So I think that could be really, really interesting. Why is this not focusing on me? Camera, I'm over here. There we go. My camera has been weird about the focusing lately, and I feel like my children might have messed with the settings, so I need to look into that. So yeah, that is what I read in November, what I was not able to finish yet in November, and what I'm hoping to read in December. Thank you for being here with me, and, you know, it's okay to only read 2 books a month sometimes. You know what I mean? That's fine. That I normally read a lot more. November was a rough month. October was a rough month. Hopefully December is less of a rough month. I doubt it. We'll see. there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. I'm a busy gal. So yeah, but I enjoyed the reading that I did, and I'm excited to read more. Let me know what was your favorite book that you read in November, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!